Okay, so today in class we started talking about scientific notation, and remember scientific notation is just a way for us to deal with very big or very small numbers. Alright, so for example, we may have numbers that are this large, or we may be dealing with very small amounts such as this, okay? And so when we're given our numbers like this in standard form, one of the things we want you to be able to do is rewrite them in what we call scientific notation. And if you remember scientific notation, two parts. Step number one, we're going to rewrite our number so that it's between 1 and 10. Okay, which means we got to move the decimal point. So if I want to rewrite 100,000 millions, if I want to rewrite 46 billion so that it is between 1 and 10, all right, that means my decimal point has to move all the way up here to in between those two terms. So that would be a 4.6. Notice all the zeros are now after the decimal point, not necessary. So it's going to allow us to shorten this value up. Same thing here for this term, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. So we got 38 10 millionths. We're going to be moving our decimal point up here so that we get a new value that is between 1 and 10. So we're going to move our decimal point so that we now create 3.8. So again, notice that's just step number one. Step number two, we're going to multiply by a power of 10. And again, the reason we're going to use powers of 10 is because multiplying by 10 or dividing by 10 is what allows us to move our decimal point in a number of places. So 4.6, step number one done, multiply by a power of 10. So 10 to the, now we need our power. Our power is based on how many places we moved our decimal point. So we moved our decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that would be 4.6 times 10 to the 10th power. So this is the standard form of 46 billion, and this is the scientific notation form of 46 billion. A lot less zeros to be held accountable for. All right, down here we got the standard form of 38 10 millionths. So now we're trying to get this in its scientific notation form. We got the number between 1 and 10, multiply by a power of 10. So 10 to the, now again, if you notice on this one, we're moving our decimal point in the opposite direction that we did up here. So that's going to make our exponent negative now. So we went negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 6 places. So again, we're not changing our number, we're just expressing it in a different way. Standard form, what we're used to seeing, this would be the scientific form of these two values. Advantages, shorter to type into a calculator, less zeros to worry about. So again, there are some advantages to this, and so that's why we have scientific notation. Okay, so that's the goal for tonight, part of the goal for tonight. The second goal for scientific notation, obviously, if we want to give you standard and we want you to rewrite that in scientific notation, we would also want you to be able, if we give you something written in scientific notation, to write that out in its standard form. And again, if you haven't figured it out yet, when it comes to scientific notation, your powers relates to how many places your decimal point needs to move. So this is telling us, this is our clue here, that we need to move our decimal point 8 places. Well, we have 3.27. We need to move it 8 places to the right, so that would be 1, 2. How do I get the rest? We add zeros. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our new number would be 327 followed by 6 zeros, and then we can add our commas. So that would be 327 million. All right, and then we can also go the other route. If we have a negative power, so 8, we moved our decimal point 8 places to the right. Now it's -5. That means we want to move our decimal point 5 places left. Okay, so we're starting with 1.04. We're going to move it to the left one spot, and I did not allow enough room. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so our new term would be 0.00000104. We can add the decimal or 0 in front as well. So the goal is to be able to flop back and forth between standard form to scientific notation or scientific notation back to standard form. Hopefully that'll give you enough guidelines for tonight. Do the best you can on your homework, and as always, bring your questions to class tomorrow. Have a good night.